personally not going to share that, right? Like, I don't know what the president's doing. I don't know what Barack was doing. I don't know what
Uh-oh, Brazy. Yeah. Looks like they back for a fifth season, man.
Who that?
Sports Roundtable.
Who?
SRT Crew.
Whoa.
SRT. They got that realness flowing in their DNA. Damn you lame if you ain't tuned to SRT today. HO got that payload when he say so. What you betting on? Don't get mad at me on fantasy. Break up Kyrie LeBron. I be smooth as sports superhero Hancock in the mix. Deal with roll top forever. Real talk, you know who he gon' pick. See where I be with SRT. Behind the glass, that G-Money. They win it strong, I never lose. 6-man elite, that's J Smooth.
All you other sports radio shows is fake news. Believe it. Turn up your radios, cause it's time for SRT Radio. Yeah.
What up? It's Sports Roundtable, and we're live from our virtual studios overlooking the YouTube space and the digital space. As I'm your humble host, H.O. from Bankhead, and yes, as you can see on the right of me, as you can see, he's in the building representing the Roll Tide, my main man, D. Wheeler, coach. What's going on, Weezy?
What up, Big H.O. And all my Georgia people out there? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? That's all. Hey, listen. Hey, can I be like that for 1 second, Big H.O.? Who's your daddy? Who is your
go ahead.
daddy?
Wait on Hancock to join me.
Huh? I don't hear Georgia fans.
Make sure you say it. Make sure you hold. Make sure you say it again. Say it again when Hancock get on.
Hey, you know how I go. Appreciate you. I can get that.
Yeah, absolutely. So how you feeling right now? How you feeling right now?
Say that one more time.
I said, how you feeling right now? How you feeling right now with Kalen DeBoard and
Can you hear me?
coming in doing this? Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm having a little technical difficulties. I can't hear you right now.
Oh man, that's not good. Log off and log back in.
Okay.
You heard that? All right, D. Will will be logging off and logging back in as we're waiting on my main man Hancock to come through. Again, I'm your main man H.O. from Bankhead. We got a lot to talk about. Let's go through some hot news. The Georgia Bama game, we got to break that down, and we also go break down the Heisman Trophy. All right, there you go. Back. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, baby.
There you go. I was just going over some hot news, and we got to talk about the Heisman. Is it the best player or the best stats for the Heisman? We got to talk about that. The T-Wolves and the Knicks trade. Just saw an interview with Cat saying that he grew up a Knicks fan. So, did he?
Isn't he from Jersey?
Yeah, he's from Jersey.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
He said dad gave him the Knicks gave his dad a tryout or something like that. So hey, undefeated team. Are you surprised that the Vikings undefeated, or are they pretenders? So yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Dad said, D. Will, congrats on the win.
That's why Dez has always been my guy. Has always been my guy, because he keep it a book.
Keep it a book. So yeah, all right. So let's go ahead and let me get my banner up here, and we can get into some hot news. Hot news sponsored by our good old friends Big Easy Grill, 1193 Collier Road, Atlanta, Georgia. Big Easy Grill, the best Louisiana seafood in town. If you don't believe me, go on over there to 1193 Collier Road. Collier Road is the place to be. the crab claws, the shrimp, the catfish bites, and all of it will be jumping off of you with the Big Easy Grill. Trust me when I tell you, any meals over $25 or more, make sure you mention SRT or Sports Roundtable. Get you 10% off discount.
Yes,
All right, here we
sir.
go. Waiting on Hancock, but I got my main man Bob behind stage. We're going to bring Bob in so we can talk a little college football. I'm trying to get him out the house, trying to get him back on the sports airwaves. So we got a Braves report coming up. But Bob, what's going on, bro? I had to get you in to talk this college football real quick.
I'm all ready for some college football leading into the Braves. Got to have a win today.
There you go. All right, college football. Here we go. D-Will, we're going to start with you, obviously. The Georgia-Bama breakdown, the game. How did you see it? What was your take on it? You know, besides your gloating about winning, give me your authentic breakdown about the game.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. First off, at no point of any time did I ever expect the game to go in the direction that it went. Right? Watching us all season long, right, breaking down game by game. You thought we were in a struggle, right? We didn't look efficient, and I was on record saying, I had tweeted, I was Facebook, and I was Instagram, and I even said it live on air, that Jalen Milroe just didn't look comfortable in the first 4 games of the season. He looked as if he was a deer in headlights. He didn't look like he was grasping. Don't you know? Y'all remember the quote from back in the day when the quarterback said, "I was seeing ghosts"? It looked as if Jalen Milroe was seeing ghosts, and he wasn't grasping what the offensive coordinator and Kalen DeBoer were trying to get across to him. And it comes to find out that Kalen DeBoer was just extremely vanilla the first 4 games of the season. He knew he could beat those teams by running nothing. He knew he could beat those teams by trying different things. And he saved it all for Georgia. And he came out in that first half and he put a whooping on Georgia Kirby Smart had never seen before. Kirby Smart looked confused during the first half of that football game. But they're a great football team. They went in and they made the adjustments in the second half. And even though I will agree, they made adjustments and played much better, Bama just sleptwalked through that second half. Right? That shows that Kalen DeBoer has some cleaning up to do still in that locker room. We have the talent to win a national championship, but also the mentality is something that Nick Saban brought that you saw lacking that game against Georgia the second half, because it should have never been that close. However, the resolve and the resilience of Jalen Milroe and the talent of Ryan Williams just came through in the end, and that was just too much for Georgia to handle.
All right, cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as y'all can see, I got the professor just coming in, and he has his, is that the Cowboys? Yeah, that's the Cowboys logo behind his head. My main man, and coach is looking for you as well. Mr. Hancock, the sports superhero. What's up, Han? What's going on, bro?
Big homie and the crew. What's happening with you, baby? Glad to be on tonight. What's happening?
Yo.
What's going on, buddy?
It's all good, all good.
Yes, sir. All right, so we talk about the Georgia-Alabama breakdown. Han, I'm going to save you for last. D-Will, I already said. D-Will, give me a repeat of what you said earlier.
Who's your daddy? That's all we do. That's all we do is smack the baby.
All right, Bob. Go ahead and give me your breakdown of the game.
I felt like I was watching a Washington last year repeat. I mean, that's the Kalen DeBoer offense that I was expecting to see. I think the biggest difference is, as opposed to Nick Saban, Kalen DeBoer is Kalen DeBoer got to learn how to be a throat guy. I mean, that second half, was, the defensive breakdown in the second half. That's something, that he'll have to learn within the SEC. It ain't going to work like that. It ain't like the Pac-12 where you can run up, 40 points of offense. It just so happened that they had one of the best first halves I've seen in an SEC game in a long time. I mean, offensively, Georgia just didn't have a clue on what to do. Jalen Monroe, he just literally, ran that offense as perfect as I've seen in the first, especially in the first 4 games of the season. And so if they can adjust in the second half, play defense like Alabama should play defense, that is going to be a scary, scary team, because we know what that offense will do under Kalen DeBoer. I mean, you bring in a Pac-12 offense where it's all about scoring, and then bring that SEC defense in with it. That is a really, really talented team. I mean, I expected it to be close. I knew Georgia wouldn't roll over even being down, but I mean, I knew the game was over. I mean, I went at halftime and I was like, what? I've never seen Georgia defense just absolutely dominated on all facets of the game. And then, to have such a talented wide receiver like that. I mean, a 17-year-old kid dominated a SEC football game, and it was exciting to see. They have weapons. Jalen Monroe, under that tutelage, is going to light it up this year. I mean, it's an exciting team. I mean, SEC football is as good as it gets right now. So, but I mean, this is who's in control right now. I mean, this Alabama's division to run. So, I mean, this was the biggest test that Kalen DeBoer needed to prove that he could be an SEC head coach and coach an Alabama football team. And I think he shocked even the people that had a little bit of doubt.
Yeah. All right, Han, we got Coach saying you finally made it to the house, and I'm sure we'll go get more talk on that. But Han, before you go, let me make a confession before you get into the Georgia Bama breakdown. Before this game against Alabama, I said Jalen Milroe was a Anquan Bolden playing quarterback 2.0. But after I seen this game, and after I saw the and I think D. Will, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't last year this was the game he came back from being benched the previous week or something to that effect?
Yeah.
So
That's correct.
this is the week. This is the week where he normally just takes off anyway.
True.
So, but now after I see this game and saw some of his passing, his touch, and all that, I may say he's a much better quarterback than Anquan Bolden was, even though Anquan Bolden went to the league as a receiver. Some may remember he did play a little quarterback at Florida State. And Han, I'm sure you remember that and things of that nature. So, all right, it's on you now. Give me your breakdown.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hancock. I'm gonna tell y'all why Hancock was out of the community last week, because the week before that, I whooped his ass in fantasy football. I'm talking about a major beat down. So he had to take the week off because he didn't want to see me. But guess what he did, y'all? Guess what he did? The very next week, he gonna send his little son to come at me. And for some reason, Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson decided not to show up. And I done got my ass whooped by the son. So it's like he came and avenged his damn dad. So I got you. It's all good. I see how you work.
We do what we got to do. We do what we got to do. Yeah, you got me, D. Will. We can speak on that. I had to go into that week down 4 starters, and you did what you were supposed to do. You took care of it.
Y'all see that caveat excuse? Oh, I went down 4 starters.
I was down 4 starters. Starters. Still put up 150 points. So I'm pretty effective with my team. I'm pleased with them. Keep winning, D. Will. I'd love to see you again. But anyway, getting to this, I guess the latest game of the year or game of the millennium, which it was kind of billed as. Early, it wasn't living up to the hype. Let's just be real about it. And I'll be honest, I missed on this one. My thoughts going into this was that Kirby would come out with an effective game plan to make Milroe become a passer. That's what I thought he would do, to effectively make him beat him in the air, which in effect did happen on that big play to Ryan Williams. But the thing I came away with was, and I echo some of the sentiments you say, big homie, Jalen Milroe to me has taken leaps in becoming a solid quarterback. Now we see the bigger windows that he's throwing into, and that's fine. That's college football. but that happens across the board. And what I hate is that this was brought up when they tried to downplay what a quarterback does. But when another quarterback, let's say Manning, Arch Manning, hits wide open receivers, that's never brought up that, well, if the windows are going to be smaller once he moves up to the next level. Well, if they're smaller for Jalen Milroe, they're going to be smaller for Arch Manning also. So let's just keep that a buck. But my point back to saying, I thought if you turn back the clock 2 years, watching Jalen Milroe come into a game and get under center, I was like, there's no way in the hell this kid is going to ever be the starting quarterback at Alabama. I honestly never thought. I looked at him, I said he could play there, but not at that position. But to do the things that he's doing, he puts so much pressure on the defense right now. With his legs, with his mobility, his strength, and his speed. And I didn't realize how big he really is until the interview that he had with the young lady after the game. Now, I know she's probably small, but he was towering over her. And the definition this dude has, he's a monster. But honestly, watching him play, he does have a future in the NFL. If you see what's happening in the NFL right now, I can definitely see him taking it. And if I'd be homeless right now because I would have put my house on that he didn't have a chance to get into an NFL game unless he bought a ticket. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't see it, not at quarterback. But honestly, watching the development and the growth, I got to give it up to what he does. Now, I was impressed when you talked about, how Georgia came back. And that's human nature. For a team to get up as big as they were, you're going to have some levels, But I was impressed with Georgia not quitting. That was impressive. So I do think Georgia, Texas, Alabama, not in particular order, are the best three teams I've seen this year. So I'm going to keep doing that. I think Ohio State is still looking in from the outside with that. But on this game, watching two players, Ryan Williams and Jalen Milroe, jump out of my television it's unreal that these two guys, they stood out and they towered over everybody else on the field. Honestly, that's what really, to me, tilted the game. Ryan Williams, as a 17-year-old player, I can't get my head around that this dude is basically just a little bit older than my 13-year-old son, and he's playing major college football at the highest level. And you can't go any top 2 or 3 and say that he's not one of the top 3 receivers in college football right now. So this game to me showed the top 2 of the top 3 teams, and we'll see it down the line. I don't think Georgia should have dropped because you went into Tuscaloosa and you showed that you could at least, compete in the second half. I thought, now, I'll be honest, if Alabama would have continued to dominate the way they were, I think Georgia drops to about 9-10 in the nation because they were getting their butt kicked. But I tipped my hat. I didn't think Caleb DeBoer was going to be a fit in the SEC. Now we'll still have to see because we always talk about, can you keep feeding the monster? You still got Nick Saban's crew in there. So let's see what happens in a couple of years. But hey, I missed on this one, D-Will. I tipped my hat. Bama looked dominant the first half of that game, and they made a big play to win it. Came up with defense at the end. So my kudos to Bama, man. Great game.
Let me say this. I'm going to tell you like this. The reason I say Caleb DeBoer is just fine, especially when it comes to recruiting in the state. And, him coming from the West Coast, that's what everybody was harking on. Can he recruit the state? He doesn't have the relationships throughout these high schools and these districts in Alabama, Texas, Florida, and all these places. However, he was able to get Ryan Williams. What people forget is Ryan Williams decommitted the day Nick Saban retired. The same day, Ryan Williams and his father came out with a decommitment graphic and announcement on social media. Caleb DeBoer had to go recruit Ryan Williams. And to get him to come back right after Caleb Downs had left to go to Ohio State. So that was another big loss. Isaiah Bond had left to go to Texas. So everybody was bolting from the ship. But for him to go back and get Ryan Williams and get him in the fold and for him to get on campus and do what he's doing now, I think that shows what Caleb DeBoer is going to be able to do in recruiting the South and recruiting kids to come play at Bama in the SEC.
It's a hell of a start, D. Will. It's a hell of a start. It's a hell of a start. So I'm really amped to see how it continues, really. But the one thing that I worry about is, and we see college football a lot. Who's your next team that you play, D. Will?
Vandy.
Okay. But you know what I'm saying. This is Vandy.
Yeah, the letdown.
Yeah, and that's what I'm worried about. Bama. That's one thing Nick was able to do, was still beat folks he was supposed to beat. So let's see. You know this Vandy Super Bowl. They got nothing else left. This is it. So
and that quarterback at Vegas not bad.
Right.
Yeah, the quarterback at Vegas not bad.
Yeah.
24,
so hey, great
24,
win, man. Great win. But I missed on this one. I honestly missed on this one. I had Georgia. I'll be honest with you.
One minor thing that that we're not talking about too is how cool is the elimination of divisions that allows this to be a week 4 matchup, which the ratings were through the roof for this.
Wow.
So that's the benefit of eliminating divisions. We're able to get these matchups. I don't know. I'm sure they said it, but I don't know how many times Georgia and Bama played each other, like not in either a conference, conference championship or in the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, this is a big time week 4 matchup, and it felt like a big time week 4 matchup, So that's the cool thing about the elimination of divisions now, is that you're able to get those kind of matchups in the SEC early on in the season, not necessarily the last week of the season.
True.
Yeah, that's great point. All right, shout out to everybody in the chat. We got Dez, we got Coach. Cuz in the chat as well. He said, "What's up?" I saw Marty earlier. Marty is in the chat. So
what's up,
shout out
Tennis?
to everybody in the chat, man, making it live. All right, before we move on to our next subject, let's go ahead and take a moment of silence and recognize and give prayers and condolences for Dikembe Mutombo and who's my other guy?
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose. Yeah, Pete Rose. Yeah, Pete Rose and Mutombo, man. We lost two great guys. Sad that Pete Rose never saw himself get into the Hall of Fame. If they put him in now, my personal feeling, it will be a slap in the face. Just my opinion.
And that's what it's about, big homie. I think he gets in now, but I don't think the sports writers wanted him to see himself get in. I honestly don't. I think that was part of it. I really think that was part of it. He's going to get in, I believe, now.
Oh,
especially with gambling being.
It'll be a boy stop later. Trust me.
Yes.
You don't get to
talk about
putting a guy in after he dies.
Yeah, I promise. I believe it's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. I think I just got my boy.
I could go for the whole entire 2-hour show just on that subject alone.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's crazy. But Mutombo, great guy. The brain cancer went very, very low as far as him having it, him fighting through it and things of that nature. But prayers to the big guy, man. He was a wonderful guy in the community as well. We love him in Atlanta. And so, I mean, nothing but great things to say about Mutombo. So, man, prayers and condolences out to the family and to the basketball nation. Georgetown, Denver, Atlanta, and all the other places that he played. Oh, that's a big loss. And third was John Amos, right?
Yeah.
Hey man, I was gonna say, man, you gotta give it up for John Amos, bro.
Yeah, no doubt.
Gotta give it up for John Amos, man.
Yeah. Hey, we've lost a bunch of legends, man. We've lost a bunch of legends recently. Hey, did you all mention Frankie Beverly? I've been out. Did you all mention Frankie Beverly?
No,
Look, man.
Yeah, but we're mentioning him right now. I would go hold that until you. I know that it's your guy.
Hey, man, it's just that when music transcends all of our lives, my kids, like, they know Frankie Beverly. That's what's so big about it. And it happens because when we do family reunions, we do weddings, we do everything like that. When family gets together, Frankie Beverly music is playing through that. Osmonds, things like that. So that's why that's such a big thing and a big loss to our community, because his music, and I'm not going to even say just our community, to the world. His music spanned through decades. The first time I heard Frankie Beverly, I think I was coming out of elementary school, going into middle school. When you think about how long ago that was. I just turned. I'm approaching 61 years old right now, and Frankie Beverly and Maze are still relevant. You know, that music lives on, and that's why it touched so many people, man. So I just wanted to say that, man. Tip my hat, and I'm sure, like I said, kids that don't even know, it's almost like Jordan's, D. Will. Kids never saw Jordan play, but they still love to shoot. And that's the same thing when you hear Happy Feelings. When you hear those songs, man, it just, you know, I get goosebumps, my hair raised on my arm right now just thinking about it, man. It's like the soundtrack to our lives, man. So shout out, prayers up to Frankie Beverly and his family, man.
Hey, listen.
James Earl Jones as well.
Hey, listen, the Essence Festival in New Orleans will never be the same.
Never be the same.
Because they played the Essence Festival every year for about 50 years, right? Everybody went to go to the Essence Festival just to see Frankie Beverly and Maze.
Right.
Yeah, great. For sure. All right, man. So that's off that subject, but on to that subject. Next week, we SRT not just about sports. We're gonna do something very, very special. We're gonna have we got a guest coming on next week to talk about breast cancer. So welcome to Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is October. We have a guest on next week to talk about breast cancer, how you could prevent it, how you deal with it, and all these things. So make sure you tune in next week as we have a survivor of breast cancer coming on next week to join our show. Well, we don't just do sports. We in the community as well. All right, moving on to our next topic, the Heisman Trophy. Do you choose the Heisman Trophy player based on the best player or the player with the best stats? Bob, I'm gonna start with you. How do you think it should be decided, and how do you decide it?
It's the best player in college football. I mean, you know, it's the MVP of college football is who I look at it. You know, I think. Right, you know, awfully early, obviously, but you know, yeah, I mean, best player, and the best player on the field right now was Jalen Milroe. You know, followed very, very closely by Cam Ward, who has really come out of nowhere with Miami and just had a phenomenal start to the season. But I think it goes Milroe, Cam Ward, Travis Hunter right now, 1, 2, 3. But a lot of people aren't really watching him right now because it is a lower level school, but Ashton Jeanty at Boise State is running through the NCAA right now. And so I don't think that he'll get them enough mainstream publicity unless Boise State does what Boise State does by getting into the playoffs and doing what they do. You know, that might be the national stage he needs, but then obviously by then, you know, Heisman voting will be over. But yeah, it's supposed to be, and I think it always has been the best player in NCAA. But that's usually, you know, your stats make you the best player in the NCAA. So it kind of goes both ways, I guess.
Okay. All right, Han, I'm gonna go to you next, and then I'm gonna go back up to D. Will on this one.
Yeah, I understand what Bob is saying. I think that what happens, this award gets skewed to the offense, who mainly right now has been quarterbacks. It used to be a running backs award when we saw Herschel win it, George Rogers, Barry Sanders, people like that won it. And then it turned and became a quarterback really driven award. The thing about it is, your question is, do you take the stats or the best player? And it's hard to quantify. I think that sometimes it becomes a story. We saw Charles Woodson win it due to a story of a two-way player, which in effect, he was a special team player, played a little bit of offense, but was mainly a defensive player. I think with the 3.5-hour commercials that Colorado is getting now on the national stage, and you see Travis Hunter play, the number of plays he's playing, and not only just playing, He's affecting the game. Game-saving goal line stops, knocking balls loose, interceptions, touchdowns, catching 9 passes a game, basically averaging over 100 yards in receiving. I can't sit here and say that to me, he isn't the best player in college football because I don't think anybody else can do what he's doing right now. And he's doing it effectively. It's not that he's coming out and making, okay, he's 11 of the play, 1 of 11 on the field. He's tilting the field on both sides. He's making spectacular plays on both sides. Running down running back, stopping them on 60-yard gallop. He's doing everything. And he's getting the attention. Everybody in America sees him every Saturday. He's in a big game. As long as he's getting that, I think he's going to be in the running for this Heisman, man, because of the story. We just don't see this. Now, Milroe, to me, showed this week. I think he kind of edged up because that was a big game. I think big games, big moments make you shine. And like I said, right now, Travis Hunter with that game-saving fumble hit on the goal line, making plays down the field for Shedeur when it's needed. Right now, I got him as my number 1. And I think, like I said, with Milroe's performance, I think he kind of moved up ahead of the rest of them right now. But I do like the kid from Boise, but I just don't think that it's going to be too late before they find out what he's doing. But that's the way I see it right now.
Okay.
But Hancock, if he's such a game changer, why isn't Colorado undefeated? If you're a game changer, meaning your team's going to win consistently. And that's the one thing that'll always hold either Shedeur or Travis Hunter back from being a Heisman candidate is you can roll up the stats, which Travis Hunter is, but if you ain't winning the games, that means you aren't doing enough.
Bob, they 3-1, Bob. They 3-1. Now, my point on it is, now I take that with what you said. I agree. If they become a losing team and they don't make the playoffs, yeah, that's going to be a detriment to them. But if he's the man and they get to the playoffs and get in this playoff, his name is going to be up there in that Heisman. I'm telling you, you see it. He's getting too much attention. And if they keep winning, now I didn't say that before you said what you said, but winning is a big part of it. But the question on here was, is stats or is it, what was the big home? You asked, do you pick the stats or the best player? And what I'm saying to you is, yeah, it's a tough situation because we've seen stats not winning. Like I said, we saw what happened with Charles Woodson. Now it helped that they went to the Rose Bowl and didn't they win a national championship that year? I think they did.
I think they did too, but I don't remember.
Yeah, but the point on this, they didn't have to win a national championship because the Heisman comes out before that. And what I'm saying to you is, if Travis Hunter helps lead this team in the playoffs, especially with the way they haven't looked, I mean, look at the program they came from. Colorado was dead for years. And if he can get this team that was 4 and whatever last year, and they make a playoff run about 9 or 10 wins, and he's a big factor, he's gonna be up in that Heisman. That's the way I think. I could be wrong, but that's my views on it.
All right, D. Will, what you got, bro?
Great points by both of y'all. And I agree with a lot of what y'all said. However, on the case of Travis Hunter, I think what he is currently doing, because hey, they 4-1 right now. They've matched their win total from last year already. Right? They've already matched their win total. So he is improving them on the field with his play, and you can tell he's pushing that program forward. However, I believe what he's doing right now gets him to New York. I don't think it wins in the Heisman because we understand what this award is. It's the best player on the best team that plays in the biggest game, right? It's who has the moment when everybody is watching, and that's what the award is, right? So I would say this. Jalen Milroe, in my opinion, has put himself at the top of the list, right? That performance this past Saturday took Jalen Milroe from middle of the road Heisman candidate to the leading Heisman candidate. I like what Bob said. I love what Cam Ward is doing over there at Miami. But we saw how shaky Miami looked just a couple of weeks ago. So we understand if Colorado can continue to win, yes, he will be there in the conversation will heighten for Travis Hunter or Shedeur, mainly Travis Hunter, to win the Heisman Trophy. But if Jalen Milroe and Alabama continue to go in the route that they're going, it's going to be impossible for him to, because Ryan Williams is going to make Jalen Milroe look like a spectacular quarterback every single game. And if they continue to win, they're going to be in games that matter. And we all know you got to play in games that matter. That's why I would give him the nod. However, I think it's more so, I don't think it's stats. I don't think it's play. I think it's the best player on the best team that plays in the biggest game. And I heard both of y'all say that the Heisman is selected prior to the playoff season, which is true. However, what you do up until that point, you got to get your team into a playoff situation, right?
Exactly.
Like if you don't get them to a playoff situation, you're not going to be considered. So if Colorado continues to win, I think Shedeur and Travis are getting themselves to New York, but I think it's going to be hard pressed for them to win it over somebody like Jalen Milroe, who has the opportunity to go to the playoff and win a national championship. And same for Cam Ward, because both of those teams will probably have first round buys and be looking really good going into the playoff. So like I said, I got Jalen Milroe 1, I got Cam Ward 2, and I'm with Bob. I got Travis Hunter 3 right now.
Can I put one more thing on that I can ask you about?
Mm-hmm.
And that is that there's a lot of jealousy of the SEC. A lot of jealousy of the SEC. They don't think football is played anywhere past the Mississippi. So
True.
I'm just saying, watch voters for voter fatigue of the SEC. They'll do anything, just like, and we'll get to that point. I'll make it later. But that's just another caveat. But like I said, these commercials when I call them commercials because they're football games, but you can see that certain players, they pull constantly. I can guarantee you Travis Hunter's name was mentioned on that broadcast 200 to 250 times in that broadcast, if not more. It's just what they do and what they show. And I think, again, isn't Colorado a national game this Saturday?
They play their biggest game this week, Kansas State.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. And if he keeps popping off the screen, that's all I'm saying. They got to win. Don't get me wrong. I agree with you, Bob. I agree with you, D. Will. They have to win.
I got 2 points I want to make. I want to bring to your attention, and D. Will makes a hell of a point. That's why I always got to get him on, because a hell of a point. Big moments makes you a big time player. Performing in big moments in big games makes you a big time player. Now, isn't that why Deion went to Colorado? Let's be honest. Isn't that why Deion went to Colorado, to take both of his boys to Colorado, to put them in moments that everybody can see them perform?
Exactly.
Now, another caveat to that is this. It's the eye test. It is the eye test. The eye test says that I don't care how many games you win, Colorado won 4 games last year, which is 3 games more than they won the previous year. But everybody to a man knew and knows that Travis Hunter was probably the best player on that team last year. It's the eye test. So the eye test plus the moments that you have in big games pushes you over the edge as well. So we cannot forget that. But
they aren't impressing anybody, HF. They're 4-1, but they aren't even ranked. They haven't played nobody. I mean, this week is going to be the test for them. They finally have a ranked team that they're playing. They play in one of the weakest conferences in all of college football. So of course it's going to be all about the numbers, but I want to see them do it against ranked teams. And that's why they're still unranked at 4-1 right now. The committee feels 25 teams are better than Colorado right now.
Right. And the goalpost always is going to move, Bob. And that's my point. What you just said right there, they haven't played anybody. But when the rankings come out, a lot of teams that haven't played anybody. Miami hadn't played anybody.
I didn't say they ain't played nobody.
So that's what I'm saying. They haven't played. When they do play, the only teams that we've seen play somebody with Bama, and Bama and Georgia played each other. So I think the argument, I understand your argument, but kind of it's kind of argument to make a point sometimes because a lot of teams haven't played anybody. And it's when you ranking teams and it's a voted thing, this is about voter bias. I heard sports shows say one particular, the facility. What's the quarterback that stole money for years for Missouri and was behind Breeze for all those years? Chase Daniel. He came out flatly and said UCF was going to walk Colorado to death, beat them down. It was not going to be close. But that's the thing. It's all opinionated. And now that he looked like he had egg on his face because Colorado thoroughly beat them. It wasn't even close. But that's the point. It's all about rhetoric and media. And this award is about media. I mean, it is. It's a lot of people that are voting, and they're voting for these polls. You mentioned the poll. The coaches poll, the coaches don't vote that. They give it to an SID or somebody to go in there and make that vote. They don't even know who, they don't have a time to look at. All these polls that come out, people, they might even say, who you think, who's the best team? Those polls don't really mean a lot. They don't. I mean, they mean a lot as far as how you rank people, but a lot of them are empty. D-Will, how many times you think Nick Saban voted or said who he thought was the best team in the league?
Never.
Never.
He never
That's
did.
what I mean. So these polls are just people that they say that are somewhere fill this out and send it in. They don't. It's the rankings.
I agree.
Don't matter until we see who plays each other.
I agree.
That's when it's gonna happen.
So I agree with both. I see what both of you guys are saying, and I'm straddling the line and agreeing with both of y'all. However, Cuz asked the question, whose fault is that? It's Colorado's fault, right? It's their fault because they schedule the games, right? And even though a lot of these schedules are scheduled out in advance, however, none of these schedules have been scheduled out in advance because of conference realignment, right? So a lot of these schedules were made up in time, in now. So they could have probably got some better games. So it's on Colorado. However, you can only play who's on your schedule, right? And you can only perform against who you can perform against. Travis Hunter is performing against who he's on the field with. Jalen Milroe is performing against who he was on the field with. Who are you giving the nod to? It's going to be Jalen Milroe because he's the quarterback and he plays at Bama.
I don't think any one of us disagrees that Travis Hunter is one of the best players in college football. I mean, he is. He's dynamic. Is he electric? But is he the Heisman Award winner?
I can't go that far.
Yeah, me either.
We'll see. If they keep winning, we'll revisit this.
Let me say it this way. And we're going to go on to our Braves report in a second. I would say Travis Hunter is being bitten by the Shohei Ohtani effect, which means that Shohei Ohtani was with Anaheim for all these years and they never made the playoffs. But man to man, who was the best player in the American League?
Shohei.
He popped off the table and was the best player. I don't care how many times they won, how many times they lost, whatever the case may be. The eye test says that this guy is the best player in the American League, not just in the American League, but the whole league. And he played with the worst team in baseball. So I think sometimes, again, we have to look at the eye test. And you have to balance that eye test along with the big moments when you do play on TV. And then there you go. So I just
listen. I totally agree with that point also. But here's what I want to say about that. If you look at Colorado's football games, they are extremely exciting. It's always drama in their games, right?
Always.
So eyes always gravitate to their games. However, 12 million people watched Alabama and Georgia the other night. 12 million.
Yeah.
Colorado would never have 12 million. I don't give a damn how good the game is. You see, I don't care how good it is. They'll never have that. So my point is, what America is going to see, which is going to skew voters, because we know voting for the Heisman is regional, and majority of the voters come from the East Coast because they don't stay up to watch West Coast games, right? That kind of. So my point is, it's going to be tough for Colorado playing in the Pac-12 playing those late night games when Fox tries their best to get them in that primetime window. However, you're going up against Bama and Georgia. You're not going to win that battle, right? You're going up against any SEC matchup that is a top 25 matchup. Colorado's not going to win that battle. And until, and this is my last point. Let's not act like Colorado don't get hated on by America. Right? Like, you mean to tell me they're 4-1 going into this Kansas State game, and the last time they played Kansas State, we know what happened. Like, you sitting here telling me that that's not one of the top 25 teams in America, right? Like, and 11 million of them were from Alabama because Georgia scare ass didn't want to watch because it was up 28-0 at the end of the first quarter. So you can take that comment down. So my point is, like, the regional area of Colorado and Alabama is the reason it's going to be tough for them to compete with Jalen Milroe if Alabama and Jalen Milroe continue to play like they did on Saturday night.
It's why Michael Penix didn't win the Heisman last year, because no one stayed up to watch Washington games.
Somebody watching Colorado, because they getting. I'm looking at the viewership.
I got a comment.
People watching.
12 million, no hand.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with you, no doubt about it. But that's a whole different ball. That's a whole different animal. That's a whole different animal. Yeah, no doubt.
They got a comment right here for you. Who want to grab that comment?
Listen, you gotta year to year is different. So you gotta put every year in a different context, right? When Jaden Daniels won last year, who was his competition? Right? Like Carson Beck, they ended up losing to Bama in the SEC championship game, which knocked Carson Beck out of the running for the Heisman Trophy. So it wasn't a lot of competition last year for Jaden Daniels to go up against like it is this year with a stacked class of Heisman candidates, right? Especially at the quarterback position. So every single year is an outlier. Alabama wasn't very good, and Jalen Milroe wasn't a Heisman Trophy candidate last year. Carson Beck was until he lost to Bama. And then if you go back down the line, it's not really many other guys that were there. If you go look at who was invited to New York last year, you knew Jaden Daniels was winning that before going into the competition.
It was him
right?
versus Penix. I mean, and like I said, there was nobody watching Penix.
Nobody knew who Penix was, right?
No.
So it's a regional thing, and I understand what the question is saying, because Caleb Williams, the year before that, coming from the West Coast, he was just the outright best player in college football. When you get the comparison like he was getting when he won the Heisman to Patrick Mahomes, every time you saw Caleb Williams, only thing they said was he's the next Patrick Mahomes. And if people continue to feed that into your brain each and every day, and then there's no top level competition from one of those East Coast SEC teams, then it's going to be an outlier like that was 2 years ago. And even though Jaden Daniels is in the SEC, is the reason he won it last year.
All right, man. That's going to end our hot news. We appreciate y'all tuning in to the hot news. Thank you for all the comments. And we had fun, and there we go. Now it's time to get to Mr. Bob Lancaster as we talk about our Atlanta Braves, as we're doing the Atlanta Braves report with my main man, Bob Lancaster. All right, Bob, the Braves went down to the last game, played a double hitter on Monday, just screwed my day up, to be honest with you. And they actually got into the playoffs, and we was talking offline, and I just said to you, look, it had just been better off that they just got swept. Start the season over. Let's go ahead and get into the off season, and let's just refresh, start it over, and start back next year. But you talked me off the ledge, and I said, okay, I'll watch the game. And soon as the game started, Tatis hit the ball still.
Mammoth shot, yeah.
Yeah, so my first question is, your thoughts on the Braves getting into the playoffs. Was it an amazing job? Was it just a slip up? Did they squeak in, or did you think they'd even deserve to get in?
I think it's the top 5 managerial jobs in Braves history to get the Braves in this year. I mean, just devastated with injuries and major name injuries all year long. I think there was they played 3 innings this year with the complete, with the starting lineup that they had. I mean, and so the fact that they were even in contention to get in, it's definitely Brian Snicker's best coaching job. There ain't no doubt about that. But I mean, like, the doubleheader was as good as a doubleheader as I've seen in baseball in a long time. I was so emotionally invested. I mean, what more can you ask for? Game 161, 162 on a bonus day of baseball. Someone's got to win, and then the poor Diamondbacks that are sitting on the outside, waiting to see what's going on there. But the thing that hurt the Braves this year is that, yes, they made the playoffs, but, who awaits them is the hottest team in the second half, the San Diego Padres, who right now are just firing on every cylinder possible. And then, you don't have Chris Sale available for game one. And I know you and I talked about that, last night, but, like I told you, it don't matter who was on the mound. The Braves didn't hit at all yesterday. So you could have put a Cy Young Award winner on the mound, but you still would have got beat. I mean, it just, I even thought that Snicker managed yesterday's game phenomenally too. I mean, the fact that he recognized quickly after an inning in the third that, hey, let's get Schauber out of here, go into that bullpen. And the guys he used were fresh. I mean, Bummer had thrown game one of the doubleheader, but he hadn't been used in a while. Jesse hasn't pitched in a long time. And so so he worked his bullpen, and everybody now is fresh for game two. We got Max Fried going tonight for us, but it don't matter. I mean, if the offense don't hit, which it hasn't now for 2 postseasons in a row, it ain't gonna matter who we throw on the mound and how good of a pitching matchup we get. It's not going to get any easier for the Braves tonight. I mean, Joe Musgrove's pitching for San Diego, and I mean, he's just as good, So, yeah, I mean, the Braves just got to hit. I mean, that's just been the story of the year. But I mean, once you get past number 5 in that Braves lineup, it's all replacement. I call them the replacement players. It's all these guys that we pulled off of waivers, to get us through. I mean, some have overperformed. I mean, Laureano has been exceptional, especially the last month of the season. And then Gio has played such good defense at third. He's not really much of an offensive threat, but he's just played fantastic defense. But I mean, the hitting in general this year just was so bad. I mean, you went from Kevin Seitzer being the best coach in all of baseball last year to, I think, being the most disappointing coach in all of baseball this year. Braves hitting has been as bad as I've seen this year.
Yeah. So the question is, will this be Max Fried last game pitching for the Atlanta Braves?
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. If they don't win today, this will be the last time you see him in a Braves uniform. The Braves don't work that way. I mean, I've told you that a million times on this show, especially. If you don't get negotiated by the middle of the season, you are not an Atlanta Brave no more. The guys that the Braves want get done quickly. I mean, that's just always been the Braves way. You're not going to commit that kind of money to a 30-year-old pitcher. People don't realize Max Fried is 30 years old. What are you going to commit to him? 2-3 years, which the Braves are going to give him? He's going to get a 5-6 year contract from somebody. I wouldn't be surprised if it's San Diego, to be honest with you. That's where he started. His career was there before he got traded to Atlanta. So, he's from their organization. The Dodgers, I mean, we know what they've been able to do with creative contracts, but I just don't see any way that he is an Atlanta Brave coming into next year, just for the fact that he is going to get a multi-year deal from another team, and the Braves will never match that for a 30-year-old pitcher.
All right, what's the deal with the Braves hitting? Is there a solution to it? Is it just, what is your take on the lack of hitting, especially in the playoffs the last 2 years?
Patience. I mean, I saw exactly in yesterday's game what has pissed me off the entire year with Braves hitting. And it's funny because I just got done watching or listening to a Chipper Jones podcast where he talks exactly like this. The discipline this year in the hitting has just been horrible. I mean, you look at strike one down the middle all day yesterday, and then you swing out of the zone that, stuff that's completely a slider that's way off the plate. I mean, I am going to say the umpire yesterday did not help us any at all. I mean, there was a lot of calls outside the zone that didn't go in the Braves' way, but it don't matter. I mean, they could have been down the middle. The Braves aren't going to hit that. They're going to look at it and then swing outside the zone. The patience hasn't been there at all. Everything else numbers wise is matched up to them being as good as they've been. I mean, exit velocity, contact is there, but it just, again, it just seems like the patience isn't there. When your best player is Marcell Ozuna, that tells you a lot about how this season's gone. I mean, there's too good of guys for Marcell Ozuna to be the MVP of this team. Honestly, if Shohei Ohtani didn't exist, Marcell Ozuna would be the National League MVP. I mean, there is no team that has benefited more than the Braves that benefited from Marcell Ozuna. He'll never get the votes because of past incidents and stuff like that. The MLB will never back that type of person, so but we all know here, where we would be if we didn't have him on the squad this year. But yeah, it just no one's stepping up. I mean, just no one. Matt Olson had a horrible year for someone that is a contact hitter. I mean, he's a 300 hitter, 280 to 300. He was way down this year. People, you can talk about, Austin Riley, you can talk about Ronald Acuna, but it ain't like they were hitting before they went down either. They were two of the worst hitters we had on our team at the time. So, yeah, I mean, it was just been a down year. I really, really, really would not be shocked Kevin Seitzer is gone if they do decide to make any type of coaching changes. I think he would be the coaching change. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they brought in Chipper Jones to be the hitting coach for the Braves.
Okay. This is a question that I wanted to ask you. I was going to ask you offline, but I'm going to go ahead and ask you now. After watching the Milwaukee series and the Braves series, is it time to have buyer's remorse for trading William Contreras and having Sean Murphy?
Now, yeah. I mean, clearly the numbers say that, but at the time, Sean Murphy was considered to be the best catcher in baseball. I mean, defensively and hitting. But I mean, yeah, look, the numbers don't lie. I mean, Contreras has been fantastic. I mean, he's a huge part of Milwaukee's offense, and I think his catching, his defensive, calling of the games is a lot better than people thought. The fact that the Braves have held on to d'Arnaud and have seemed to go to d'Arnaud a lot more than they seem to go to Sean Murphy is kind of telling. I mean, I don't think that Sean Murphy has quite gotten the rapport with the pitchers like Travis d'Arnaud has. So yeah, I think that is a move that the Braves are definitely regretting. But I mean, you never know. I mean, like I said, at the time, I loved that deal because Sean Murphy was, the guy you wanted. And plus he was young too. It's not like we were getting an aging veteran and replacing young up and comer. I mean, definitely I don't think anybody in baseball thought Contreras was going to be as good as he had been. I mean, I definitely thought it was a one-off year that he had offensively for the Braves because everybody on the Braves was hitting real well that year offensively. So, but yeah, he's been good. I mean, I said the numbers don't lie with him, and I definitely think that I wish we wish we could have that one back now, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So moving forward, if the Braves win tonight, who pitched for the Braves in Game 3?
Good question. I mean, not having Sale available, not having Schwellenbach available. I mean, it's probably looking at going with what's his face?
Dylan Dodds.
Huh? What'd you say, H.O.? I lost him, I think. Did he freeze?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, I think he froze.
But yeah, they
There
I
you
mean,
There you go.
Okay, I'm back.
yeah, I think that, you know, if you go to game 3, you're probably looking at the vet I'm spacing right now on name, but yeah, you
Charlie
know,
Morton.
what's that?
Charlie Morton.
Yeah, Morton. There you go. Yeah, Charlie Morton. That's who I think would go in a game 3. You know, the just unfortunate that Schwellenbach had to go in the doubleheader, and then because I would have loved to see him go in, you know, game 3, especially with the season he's had. You know, but yeah, Morton's the guy. I mean, and then again, no one, you know, no one here is going to scare anybody, you know. But like I said, when you lose your best guy, and then you know your best pitcher after him had to pitch in a doubleheader and isn't even on the roster. So yeah, we're not striking fear at anybody this series. It's a hope and a prayer. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But I mean, if the offense can click, we can win. I mean, that's just the thing. You know, it's this team has lived or died this year by how how many runs that offense gets. The pitching has done its work all season long. If you can get 3-4 runs, the Braves have a chance of doing anything. You know, but the 0 and the 1s aren't winning against these type of teams.
Yeah. My last question is this. Talk to him about Ian Anderson and why he has not been up yet, why he hadn't pitched in 2 years or 1.5 years, and what's the plan for him moving forward?
Well, he had arm problems. You know, he's been dealing with shoulder and arm problems. Tommy John, he did have. So he's been dealing with that coming back. They did talk about him yesterday. They said that his velocity just isn't to where they felt comfortable having him come up. They still would like him to go through a full off-season program this year. But the fact that they didn't trade him away at the deadline kind of tells me that they feel like he could be a productive 4th or 5th guy for the Braves down the line. You got to figure we lose Max Fried. We're probably not going to re-sign Charlie Morton after this year. So, you know, you're looking at a Chris Sales, Spencer Schwellenbach, Spencer Strider. Once he comes back, you know, he'll probably be more towards the middle of the season, I'm guessing, unless he's ahead of schedule. And so you've got some spots open in this rotation that guys need to come and take. And right now, you know, no one's really come to take them. I mean, AJ Smith-Shawver really hasn't jumped at this opportunity yet, but he's so young. Same with Hurston Waldrop. These guys were rushed, expected from AA up, you know, and then so they really have never had, you know, a completely full season in AAA. This was AJ Smith-Shawver's first, you know, AAA year this year, but they're all still young. Not everybody is going to be the next Spencer Strider or Spencer Schwellenbach. They're once in a lifetime type, not once in a lifetime, but you know, once a a few year type of thing where you can get a pitcher like that to come through, that where you can put them up from AA straight up. But yeah, Ian Anderson, I think, is still going to be a real big part of this organization. You got to figure he's only 2 years from being a phenomenal pitcher. I was telling you, 4-0 in the postseason with a 1.69 ERA in a career. Worth giving him a shot to me.
Yeah, I agree. All right, man, that's going to end our Atlanta Braves report with my main man, Bob Lancaster. You can find him on all social media at Bowling Bob. Is it Bowling Bob 1 or just at Bowling Bob?
Just Bowling Bob.
Bowling Bob. At Bowling Bob. Speaking of Bowling Bob, have you, last time you went bowling, I know you've been trying to recover from a little back injury or a little hurt injury and things of that nature.
I'm still hurting. So I tried about a month ago and I'm still on the DL, but it's just called getting old, H.O. When you start pushing towards 50, those injuries just they don't heal just as quick as they used to. So, and you know, I was telling a buddy of mine, I said, you know, I've been bowling since I was, you know, 8 years old, so maybe even earlier than that. And so a lot of games on these knees, and I'm not the smallest guy in the world either. So yeah, so a lot of games on these knees, a lot of football games too on these knees too that don't help as well. So but yeah, they yeah, just don't come back from these injuries quite like I used to be able to. So I don't know if this is just a temporary or a permanent IR state, but it's getting longer. I figured I'd be back by now, and I ain't. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, before we get into our baller busting and bar stop, Bob, we got a question in the chat, and I'm going to go ahead and tackle that one for me before we move on.
Man, the sorry state is that what pitchers? I mean, literally the two that I said, you know, AJ Smith-Shawver, Hurston Waldrop, that's what we got. We're in trouble here soon. I mean, you know, if we don't start, you know, getting through free agency or making trades, the farm system is bare. And so we're 3 to 4 years, honestly, away from having to completely deconstruct this roster again. And because eventually you're going to run into where the Braves got into it before, where you just become a playoff team and you're expected to go into, you know, to make the playoffs. But then that gets old. People were like, okay, we're good enough to make the playoffs, but we're just the first round exit team. And you got to figure these next few years, you got to start paying everybody again. Those deals that we got for Acuna, Albies, stuff like that, they come off the books. Acuna and Albies ain't taking those deals again. I mean, you know, and they'll be 28 years old. The Braves, I don't think will invest. I want to believe that they will, but are they? You know, we've now seen 2 major knee injuries from Acuna already. Is he still going to be the same Acuna? Albies has been hurt the last couple of years. So, you know, that's just what you got to think about, you know, again, but coming from the farm system, it's going to be a brutal few years. I mean, we're still the top or bottom 3 for teams right now. We drafted really, really well this year. You know, that's a conversation for down the line, but Cam Caminiti, the guy we drafted this year, I'm really excited about. So, you know, again, we're trying to get the system back to what it used to be, but when you're constantly drafting at the end of the first round, you know, and you're not hitting on as many as you were before, you know, sometimes you have to bear in the team to get the farm system back up to what it was. So, and that's why you're starting to see teams like the Orioles, Kansas City Royals, those teams that are now winning in the playoffs are doing it the Braves way. They literally hit rock bottom and built themselves up through the draft. And now those guys are getting them into the playoffs. Guys like Bobby Witt Jr., Jackson Holiday, all those guys coming through. They are the future of the game, and they're all homegrown, investment people. So, and that's how the Braves are right now. I mean, you look at that team; it's mainly a homegrown Braves team. I mean, there's a couple of free agents and a couple of trades that we've made, but yeah, it's mainly guys that, you know, we brought up through our system. So right now we just don't have that kind of talent in the farm system.
Gotcha. All right, man. It's time to go to baller buses and bus stop. Go ahead and put your ballers, buses, and bus stop in the chat so we can read them out. And I'm go ahead and give y'all a chance to write y'all stuff down if you haven't done so. But I'm gonna go ahead and start off. And I'm pretty sure this one is going to be copied, or we probably go get along with this one. Is Jalen Milroe is my baller for this week. He went from Anquan Boldin copycat to he's much better as a quarterback. As Hancock said, his stride is boom up there. His stride is up there for sure. So with that being said, Jalen Milroe is my baller this week. And I'm gonna go ahead and start. I'm gonna go from down to the right. D. Will, Bob, and then Han. All right, D. Will, what you got?
Oh man, my baller for the week is Ryan Williams. Like 17-year-old out there doing what he's doing. I think that was his third 100-yard, maybe. Yeah, I think that was his third, maybe fourth 100-yard game of the season already. He already has I think he has 19 catches on 462 yards and 5 touchdowns through 5 games. And what he did the other night, man, he basically just said nobody out here can guard me. And everybody talks about the game-winning catch because it was the big moment. However, if you go back to that third quarter where he caught that bomb and it had the concentration on the tip ball, the spin in a circle, tip the ball around, catch it. And after he came down with that football, still make a man miss and gain yards after that, he just showed his ability and talent is through the roof, man. And I don't think we're done seeing spectacular plays from him, but my baller for the week is definitely Ryan Williams, going for 6 catches, 177 yards, and 2 tutties.
Great call. Great call. Bob, what you got?
My baller for the week is Sam Darnold. I mean, talk about someone flying off the radar and doing what he's doing. He has been exceptional this year. I mean, Minnesota undefeated still. And there ain't no one in America that thought Minnesota would be undefeated at this point in time. You know, he's shown poise. He's got the weapons. I was really, really worried when Cousins came here to Atlanta that they would, they would have a mass exodus because they have so many weapons there. But if there was no one there to get the ball to those weapons, then those guys would be disgruntled and want out. But, he has shown why people were so high on him, coming out of college. And it's just completely been, again, better than, I think anybody in the NFL could ever imagine right now. So, yeah, he's definitely my baller for the week. Minnesota is surprising the heck out of me.
All right, Mr. Hancock.
Yeah. I just want to say something about what Bob said, and this is my point on why I thought that it was such a reach that everybody thought that bringing Cousins here was going. If Sam Darnold was the dregs of the NFL, as bad as you can look at quarterback, and he goes to Minnesota in a good situation and he thrives there. So what does that tell you about why Cousins was thriving? It was the situation. He had the best wide receiver in football at the time and an offense coordinator put him in good position. So that's why I didn't understand why everybody was so excited about him coming here off of an Achilles when he didn't have that structure around him. But anyway, that was But Sam Darnold's a great pick. I'm not knocking your pick at all, Bob. It wasn't that. I was just saying that was why I just didn't understand this. But anyway, my baller, I'm going to go with a guy that was maligned, that got traded for somebody that took a team to a Super Bowl, and now he's in a situation where he's thriving. And that would be Jared Goff. Last night with a perfect game, or Monday night, I believe what it was, 18 of 18 for 292, 2 touchdowns. Everything he threw that night never hit the ground, and it didn't go to another team. So he gets my baller for that night because he was spectacular. And be careful with those Detroit Lions. They physical, they believe, and they play a good brand of football. So if he can play like that, I'm sure he can't play like that all the time, but if he can play to a high level and complete, they can stay focused and keep him clean, that's going to be a hard team to deal with. But, yeah, he gets my ball.
2 weeks in a row he's done it. So, he's been, the best quarterback to me in the league so far this year. That team, like you said, that is a scary team. I enjoyed watching that game. Shout out to their uniforms too this week. They were
they were tight. That was nice.
Fire. That was the helmets especially. So
yeah. All right, let's go to the chat and get the ballers out the way. Coach said baller, the Royals and the Tigers. And looked like somebody moved on. I think the Tigers moved on. They beat
Tigers.
the Astros.
Tariq Skubal has changed that team around.
Yep. Dad said King Henry is a baller. If King Henry is a baller, does Jerry Jones get a bust automatically for the comment?
Yes. Yes. Jerry Jones gets a buster for not taking him or Saquon. You had a chance to get a running back, and you're sitting there and not spending the money on something that you desperately needed. But I digress. Yeah, he gets a buster.
All right. Cuz Marty said Brian Flores gets a baller, and the Vikings The bus goes to Miami, and the boy stopped the tour for trying to end Flores' career. Ooh. Yeah,
I never thought he would coach again in the NFL, whether it was position, anything.
Yeah.
For him to come up and be relevant again, I'm really happy. But boy, for him to sue the NFL, sue teams, and still get a place, he must be pretty damn good.
But he deserved to get in trouble for what he did to Tua.
All right, so
Just saying.
you just speaking your mind, huh, dude?
I'm just speaking my mind.
All right, cuz said ball is Derrick Henry. Bus goes to Georgia. This one really hurts. Hey, I understand. Now, we talked about all this Heisman talk. We talked about Jalen Milroe. We talked about Travis Hunter. We talked about Shedeur Sanders. Does this move Carson Beck off that first line of Heisman Trophy now?
Right now, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Long season though. If he would have went to bed and they hadn't made a spectacular comeback, actually taking the lead, he would have definitely been out of the running for sure. But the second half that they had and him being the leader of that team, he's still going to get mentioned and whatever. They just got to go perfect the rest of the way.
Cuz, don't be mad at me, cuz. Don't be mad at me.
Dad said, yeah, he forgot about Jared Goff. All right, buster time. Let's get to these busters. I was gonna go one direction with a buster, but I said I wasn't gonna do that because Bob was on here, so I said I was gonna save face. But I will go with the buster this week. Is to my. I'm gonna go with the these writers, these football writers and draft analysts talking about now going into this game that Jalen Milroe and Carson Beck will be the overall #1 pick in the NFL. You don't even watch the rest of the college football. You can't. I mean, for those guys who are just trying to talk and make clicks and get clickbaits and things of that nature, I think all of them should get a buster because as good as Jalen Milroe has been in that game, you got Texas coming up here pretty soon. You got the SEC tournament and all that. He could win the Heisman, but the overall first pick, I'm not sure, and definitely not Carson Beck. So I digress. Let's move on from that. All right, D. Will, who you got for your bust?
Well, my buster is going to take on a little personal note. Nobody on here, unless you tap into it, is probably going to feel it. However, I got to give them the buster of the week, and that is ESPNW. ESPNW dropped their 2020 class of 2025 top 100 high school girls ranking. Okay. It's a girl here in the state of Alabama that goes to a little small town school called Spring Garden named Ace Austin. Dope name. Y'all hear Ace Austin. She's already committed and signed to play at the University of Alabama next year. ESPNW ranked her as the 53rd best player in the country. That is diabolical. This girl, Ace Austin, is a killer, y'all. Listen, I know nobody on his screen knows who I'm talking about. But when you look at a point guard that is a killer, I mean, she will cut your head off and tell you she's cutting your head off. Little white girl, too. Little bitty white girl. You'll never think she's like that. But she is a bona fide killer. And for ESPNW to rank her as the 53rd player in the country, telling me that there's 52 better players in the country than Ace Austin, nah, I ain't going there. So my buster of the week is definitely ESPN and their rankings for the 2025 rankings for the girls rankings in the class of 2025. Busters.
All right. D. Will, before I move on, I did read this. You forgot to mention that Ryan Williams doubled his NIL evaluation in 1 week.
Yeah, in 1 week. He went from 700,000 to 1.5 million.
Yeah, in 1 week.
In 1 week. And here's the kicker to that, Big H.O. The boy can't even sign a damn contract. He can't even sign a contract. and he got 1.5 million. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Only America, baby.
All right. All right, Bob. What you got as your buster?
I'm gonna stick with the women. My buster this week is Chicago Sky. Really, you hire Teresa Witherspoon to coach that team, and then you don't give her but a year to do with having a major injury with Angel going down at the end of the year, and you don't even give her a year too.
And you trade away the best shooter they had.
Yeah, Dream fired their head coach today. Not shocking. I mean, she did her job. They're in the middle of a rebuild after 2 seasons now. They're ready to go, but they're ready to move on, Patrick. I mean, they're ready to move on to now a coach that will get them to the next level. She got one season, and she don't even get a second season to show what they've proven for the team to gel together, for a coach that the players liked. Everybody came to her defense. I think it shocked the players just as much as it shocked a lot of people in the WNBA. I did not understand that move whatsoever. I thought someone was faking out on Twitter when I read it. I'm like, no way. I mean, they can't judge that after 1 year, especially when Angel went down late when they were making a playoff push. But yeah, I can't believe she didn't get a second year. So,
but Bob, she's also a legend.
Yeah.
Like she is you don't fire a legend. That tarnishes her legacy. And when your number one player, your best player, or your future and face of the franchise is on her side, that means they must have didn't talk to Angel Reese about making this move. Right? And how you not gonna talk to Angel Reese if you're the Chicago Sky about your future coaching moves? That is a big problem, in my opinion.
Well, and someone that's been able to work with Kennedy Carter, who is known as a difficult player in the WNBA to coach. That's not just coming from one source, that she's a difficult person to deal with. And Kennedy has been fantastic with that team. So yeah, it stunned me when I saw that one when she got fired. So I just can't. There was nothing that didn't show that she did not deserve a second season at least. Now they don't make any kind of improvement. I see the move being made, but who are you going to find better? They ain't finding nobody better.
Nope.
All right, Ham. Before I get to you, I got him in the chat. Dad says Bus is the Bulldogs' first half.
Dad's hurt, y'all. Hey, somebody go check on Dez this week, man. Dad's hurting over there.
Yeah. Coach said firing the Atlanta Dream coach.
I'm surprised he didn't say something about Pittsburgh losing their first game. That's a shock.
Yeah,
they were stale. The Dream were just stale. They were getting to the first round and exiting out, and so they weren't showing the improvement. They were what they were at that time. So now they've got the talent on that team for the Dream now, where they can move to the next level. So now the Dream is forced to find a coach that could get them to the next level. I mean, Witherspoon just didn't even get that opportunity.
Hey, can we before I'm gonna let Han go because he might say this one. If he don't, I got a honorable mention for Buster of the Week. If Han don't say it,
give me your Buster.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna be on my bus because it's my Buster and my boy stop all wrapped in one, and that's these fake. Let me be tapped. All the writers and analysts and people that are waiting on Colorado to fail that have to wait one more week because you sat there and you just waited. Every week we hear they're not this, they're not that. You had to eat crow this week. So my Buster goes to all those who sit and wait for the demise of the Colorado program and the stones and sticks they can throw at Dion because they're waiting and they're waiting with bated breath. You can hear even the way they congratulate him and they talk well about it. It's all a front. They're waiting to pounce. And I just love that they had to eat crow at least one more week. So my buster to all them suckers who still waiting. And you have to wait again, suckers. I hope Prime keep winning. I hope they do well. I said this a couple weeks back when I was on. It's I know he cast a big shadow. He's unapologetically Prime. And you have to love that because that's what he is. But with that, it comes a lot of slings and arrows. And I just hope that his kids are built well enough to take it, because they're going to get that undue criticism just because they play for Prime. So all these suckers that had to wait another week, suck on that.
I have Hancock. Do I have to remind you this is a family show?
Hey, but that was heartfelt because I hate the way they do that. So anyway.
Yeah, I agree. So I got an idea. We might have to change this segment to Stars and Suckers now.
Stars and Suckers.
Stars and Suckers. We might have to change the segment to Stars and Suckers. All right,
well, good. Because hold on, let me put in an honorable mention, Sucker, and this is from our good friend and show contributor Asa. Auburn Tigers. Boy, dude, Peyton Thorne is horrible. Hugh Freeze is worse. Listen, for Peyton Thorne to come out and throw for 300 yards, they have that game in the bag. All they got to do is run the ball, and they continue to throw it. And this boy throws a pick six to lose the damn football game, one of the biggest games of the year for the Auburn program that could have turned their year around and could have smashed Oklahoma. But man, Auburn Tigers, busters, period.
All right.
He should have stayed at Liberty.
All right, here we go. Yeah, here we go with the bus stops. The bus stops. My bus stop goes out to, and me and Han talked about this offline. The offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons. Not for him not recognizing that Tyler Algier had the hot hand last week, but for having Kyle Pitts with no targets at all. Do you understand that Ray McLeod has double as many catches as Kyle Pitts himself? I'm just like, this offensive play calling is just getting ridiculous in Atlanta. So, Zach Robinson, I thought you came with all the bells and whistles, but you get my bus stop for the week. And I got an honorable mention. I got an honorable mention, baller and a bus stop all in one. My favorite group in the world is 8 Ball and MJG. They finally got 8 Ball Boulevard and MJG Avenue. But what the hell took so long?
Hey,
you get a baller for doing it, but you get a bus stop for it taking this long to have it done. And I know
big homie, at least they didn't. Pete Rose been waiting till they was dead.
Yeah,
good point.
You're right about that. But Hancock, we're gonna have to take a ride down to Memphis, man, to your hometown, and
let's go, baby. I can still go on the mound. I'm good.
Let's go to the mound. I want to go to the Orange. Take me to the Orange.
I want to go to A&R Barbecue.
Oh, we definitely go A&R, baby, for sure.
I want to go to A&R.
Show enough.
Hey, Bob, you're welcome to go too. Don't worry, I got.
You just said barbecue, and I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
There it is. So my bus stop is 2-4 ID. Will, what you got?
Oh man, my boy stop goes to none other than the one and only Davante Adams of the Las Vegas Raiders. Boy, stop. You know it's cameras and microphones everywhere on the sideline. And for you to make that statement, look at the camera and then double down on it lets me know that he is done in Las Vegas. But I want to say this. It's his own damn fault. You went to Las Vegas to team up with damn Derek Carr. Derek Carr wasn't nothing. He didn't left, and now look what you left with. Damn right you getting your head took off because you deserve to, because you left Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers would still be in doggone Green Bay if Devontae Adams would have stayed. Right? They would have, because they probably more than likely would have been in another Super Bowl by now. Because that was the most dynamic 1-2 punch in NFL history by the numbers. So I'm just gonna tell you this, bro. Like, boy, stop for you to stand on the sideline and to make those comments, knowing that the world is going to hear them, lets me know that he is absolutely done in Las Vegas.
He done, be with him. Ain't no doubt. I think him and Tyreek Hill both made horrible decisions. You know, they made horrible decisions. Even if Devontae stays in Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers does decide to leave, he would have had Love as his quarterback. But he did not trust what Love was going to become. You can see that. But Tyreek Hill has definite buyer's remorse because you can talk about Tua being accurate and throws a beautiful ball and whatever. But when the lights out, you can't see where to throw the ball. And the lights go out on I'm just saying, Will. I'm not too soon, D. Will. My bad.
That's too soon, man.
My bad. But I'm just saying, you left Patrick Mahomes, man. You know, all kidding aside. Tua, I've always said he throws a beautiful ball, good quarterback. But we're talking about legendary quarterback. Talking about like generational talent is what Mahomes is. The numbers he's put up in his first years, don't nobody rival what he's done to open a career. And for you to come out and and I understand he had to big up to it, but say that, you know, he was better than Mahomes. He came out and said all this stuff. You just can't do that, man. I mean, you can big up your quarterback without denigrating someone else. And my point of view is, he probably could still be in Kansas City if he'd have taken maybe $4 million less a year. Now, he got too many baby mamas. He can't take no pay cut. It's hard to talk about anybody's money. But D-Will, you know, if he'd have won 3 Super Bowls with Kansas City, look at the money that Travis Kelce pays off. He would have made it up. He would have made it up. Because he would have been just as bright as a star as Patrick Mahomes. Exactly. He'd have been right there. He'd have been right there on the commercial with Patrick doing his own thing. So, you know, sometimes it's hindsight. You know, he made that move because the money was there. You know, you can't knock because he's got generational wealth now. Good. Right. But you have nobody to blame but with the situation you're in. And now you're talking about you want out and they trying to trade you and all that. You got to be careful what you wish for sometimes. Yep.
Why you gotta do Tua like that?
Yeah, dog. Come on, man. That's that's unmitigated shots.
Concussed, he's still better than Bryce Young, 100%. So,
hey, hold on, Bob. What is this show turning into right now? What is this show turning into? Y'all doing too much.
Oh, man.
Hey, man, I did not tell Tua to go to the NFL and become a gang member, throwing up gang signs. I didn't say that.
Hey, Big H, I gotta go. I will not take this Alabama Heisman Trophy slander right now.
Good thing they're a good college program.
Going into the chat, Maurice said Ben Simmons stop. I guess that's a boy stop.
Oh God, man!
Saying that he's finally
he needs to go away. Year. Go away.
Yeah.
Go away.
Hey man, your boy stole way too much money, man.
He stole a lot of money.
He stole a lot of money. Yeah, he stole a lot of money.
And Coach said his boy stop is Paul Feinbaum. D. Will, that's right up your alley, right?
Yeah, I boy stop Paul Feinbaum every day.
Yeah.
Every day. He just pick an hour. You can boy stop him the whole hour.
He's irrelevant.
Exactly. All right, that's going to do it for our ballers, busters, and boy stop. We go soon. Change this to stars, suckers, and boy stop. Yes, sir. All right, man. With that being said, we're gonna jump on into our round table discussion.
Hey, Big H, I got a bail.
Okay.
So let me. I hate I ain't gonna finish this last 30, but I got to get up out of there.
All right. Well, please let everybody know what you got going on, and how
Hey,
they can
man.
find you.
Real quick, because I'll need to get to that discussion. I know it's going to be a good one, man. iBallRadio.com, man, on the way. That should be, I think we're going to launch the new website on October 15th, so be on the lookout for that. It'll be the #1 most comprehensive site for all things high school and college basketball in the state of Alabama. Comprehensive rankings, articles, the whole 9 yards. So make sure you be on the lookout for that. But y'all can follow me. Go to my YouTube page, Little IBALL Radio on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, man. We go live every Tuesday and Thursday. The podcast drop every Monday, talking all things high school and college basketball, man. So make sure y'all tap into that. That's about it.
All right, D-Will. We'll holler at you next week, bro.
All right, man. See y'all next week. Y'all have a good show.
All right, roll tide.
RTR, baby.
There it is. All right, D-Will is gone, and now we got to get out to our roundtable discussion, fellas. We didn't finish up our hot news, so we're gonna start the roundtable discussion with our hot news. And I'm gonna ask you guys. And Han, we talked about this the other day, and Bob, I'm gonna ask you. With the Vikings being undefeated, Kansas City and Minnesota being the only 2 undefeated teams left, are the Vikings pretenders or are they contenders? Or do you really think that Detroit Lions, the way that they look Monday, is probably the best team in that division?
Well, Detroit, let's not act like Detroit, beat an elite team. I mean, obviously, I'm diehard Seahawks. The Seahawks defense is not elite. We've had I would say a fairly easy first 3 games for schedule. This was definitely our toughest task to date so far. And they just whooped all over our secondary. I mean, so. But Detroit is a contender. I mean, but what people are forgetting, like I mentioned this earlier too, was Minnesota had the weapons. I mean, the biggest question coming in this year was, could they replace Kirk Cousins? And Sam Darnold has stepped in more than anyone could have ever expected. So that's going to be a dogfight, for the division, for between those 2 teams, because they didn't lose nobody else besides Kirk Cousins, and they were a really, really good team last year until Kirk Cousins went down, So, we know what we're getting from the Kansas City Chiefs, who I think haven't even played their best football yet. Travis Kelce hasn't been that good. Obviously losing Rashee Rice is going to be big, but now it's Xavier Worthy's spot to step in, and he's shown flashes of being an electric wide receiver as well. And so I think they've got their replacement in Rashee Rice, already on the roster, already ready to go. I mean, I don't think the Vikings are pretenders by any means. They played really, really good football. I mean, there's a reason those 2 teams are the 4-0 teams. The experience of the Chiefs and the talent in the Vikings is the reason they're both 4-0.
All right, Han, what you got? I know we talked about it the other day, but I'm not sure what it's found.
Right. Well, the question you said on here was undefeated teams now, KC or Vikings. Who surprises you? It's definitely the Vikings that are surprising me. And it goes back to what I said about the structure of the offense. And what Bob is saying is true. The talent was there, but it's also the coaching and the play calling and things that put you in place. And also, I don't know if it went unnoticed or it just wasn't talked about, but getting the former Green Bay running back, Aaron Jones there, is a big move. Now you have a reliable running back in your backfield. Not to say Dalvin wasn't good, but they got off Dalvin, before last year, and they thought they would been able, could move forward with that, and they didn't. They weren't able to, but they put that piece in place. And to me, having that, you have an effective running back. I don't even think people understand his backup. Can't think his name right now, but he gives them pop. and the wide receiving core is pretty balanced. They are, yes, the surprise. Kansas City, if I'm going to call them a surprise, is that as bad as they played to still be undefeated. You know, that's
Right.
the surprise when you watch
Yeah, that was a thought when I brought it up. Yeah.
Right. It's when you watch them, like I think I'm gonna go against them. You know, we play and we'll talk later on tonight when we do our roundtable about our picks coming up this week. They're one of the teams that I'm going to fade week after week because they just find ways to win. They don't dominate games. And it's more of he's doing it with smoke and mirrors, man. I mean,
Yeah.
when now you've lost Rashee Rice, or however he pronounces it, he has been the most consistent player for them. He's been not only the safety blanket for Mahomes, he's been the most vital receiver. You know, the thing is that now that Travis, I don't think Travis is in any shape. To be honest with you, I'm just gonna call it and keep it a buck. I think Travis had a great summer, and he's using the first 4 or 5 games to get in football shape. Now, maybe mid-year you'll start to see some flashes of him coming around, but the things that teams used to do to be whatever they did was ineffective because it just was no answer for what he and Mahomes were doing. Those things work now. Bracketing him, playing him outside in or whatever. They're able to take him away, and you put pressure on Mahomes. He doesn't have time for Kelsey to make that move and get open. So the offensive line, the tackle position is a little weak. The receiving core, they did it last year with nothing really, because the receivers couldn't catch the ball till the last part of the year. This year, now you had Rashee Rice, but now he's gone. Who are you going to throw to? I understand you're saying Worthy, and you think he might be ready to step up. I don't see it in him. I honestly think, not McCole. No, McCole is a special teams player. Just being real with you.
Okay.
The guy that I think is going to step up right now until they are able to make a move and do a trade to get a guy in there is going to be Juju Smith-Schuster because of knowledge of the offense, running the crossing pattern. He needs an effective player to come and do those slants, to come behind and make that catch in the middle. If you watch what Rashee Rice does, he catches a lot of things in that area where Kelsey used to dominate. And you'll see him hitting him. And there was a play last week where they cleared and crossed Juju. It looked exactly like what Kelsey used to do and what Rashee had been doing. So I think he's going to be the guy that has to step up. And I think they're going to lose maybe 1 or 2 of the next 4 or 5 games, I'm being honest, because you look in the backfield, the number 1 running back is out. You know, they're down to, they brought in a guy off the street in Hunt who's seen his best times. You know, I'm not saying he won't be somewhat effective, but he can't come in and be what we know. I don't even think his first name, but I know Hunt. Come in and be what he used to be. So again, Kareem Hunt. Getting back to your original question, yeah, the Vikings are the surprise, but Kansas City is just a surprise that they're undefeated with as bad as they play.
The best thing that really could have happened if you were going to get a major injury on the receiving core for Kansas City was Rashee, though, because they have had the cloud of him getting suspended from the personal conduct of the car accident from the offseason kind of hanging over his head at any point happening here this season. From what we had heard, this is a 4 or 5 game suspension that was kind of looming over, waiting for that to get all cleared up. And so I think that they have already had plans in effect for what they would do if they were to lose him for a multi-game personal conduct suspension. So, so I do think that they've had a plan in effect for him to not be there. And so, again, if there was someone major on that team to go down, I feel that they've already made plans for him if he wasn't going to be there for an extended period of time. Now, if it's a season-ending injury, you can never plan for that. I mean, to lose a major player like that.
But I think, Bob, what they had as a contingency, if you recall, was Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
See, they brought Brown in, but he got hurt.
Yeah.
So that was the contingency, is that he would move. Then by that time, Worthy would be into effect and be more of a professional receiver and get more accomplished in his routes. But now without Rice, without Hollywood, you look and you don't really, the cupboard is bad. You know,
that's just it. You got to hope that Xavier Worthy picks it up quick.
Picks up the offense.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And I just don't know if he is. He's more of a straight line guy when we've seen that. And that's what Cincinnati was saying. I came back to bite them because it's straight line.
Right, fellas, with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to our next.
You there, big homie? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. The Knicks made a trade with Timberwolves this past week. Julius Randle goes to Minnesota. Anthony Towns goes to the Knicks. I wanted you guys to answer who immediately wins in this trade, if there's a winner.
Yeah. If I'm going, you want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm saying who I'm leaning toward, it has to be New York. Except the only thing is, Cat doesn't want to play center, and we've seen that. You know, that's probably where he needs to play, especially when he's going to New York, especially with all the injuries and then the moving on of I can't think of the other kid, the guy that moved on from the Knicks. So Hardenstein. Yeah, with Hardenstein moving on, and the other center always on the injured list, he's always hurt. Cat is going to have to play in the center. Yeah, so I'm not sure. You know, I'm not 100% sure, but when you look at it, I'm like, when I look at Julius Randle going to Minnesota, I'm like, that to me, I don't see the benefits of that. You know, he's a ball stopper. You know, when he gets the ball, he wants to score and whatever. He's not going to make other players better. I don't think he's more of a ball dominant four. And I just don't see that's Cat's team. I mean, not Cat's team, that's Ant's team. So what happens with that? You know, I mean, I don't see that fit. Just didn't. I don't know. Did Minnesota make the move just to part ways with Karl-Anthony Towns? Because bringing in Julius Randle to me does not. I don't see the benefit.
Don't you think you have to talk to Ant-Man before you make a trade like that? I mean, you would think, right?
You would think you would, with him being a franchise guy, but I hadn't really heard an interview of him saying anything yet.
And Ant-Man was bigging Towns up in the press conference all playoffs. All
playoffs, trying to build his confidence and everything. Yeah. So I just, like I said, I don't understand this move as from a beneficial point when I look at the Timberwolves. You know, I just don't see where that makes them that much better. You know, if you're gonna run it back. This is the same team that, you know, made strides last year and moved throughout the playoffs, and then you turn around and say, "Nah, I don't want this, and it's not happening." It just seemed kind of strange to me. I don't know. Maybe you're just trying to get Downs out of there.
All right, Bob, what you got?
They've had that cloud hanging over in Minnesota. Karl-Anthony Towns being moved. I mean, I think I've heard this the last 4 off seasons. There's a shot that he may be moved. And so the fact that they didn't move him, I was kind of believing that they were, going to stick with him and Ant as a duo there in Minnesota. So it caught me off guard. I think the Knicks definitely win this trade. I agree with what Hancock said, everything about that. Well, I don't see where Julius Randle really fits in, where Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns together, pick and roll is going to be on point in New York. And I really think that the New York crowd will just absolutely love Karl-Anthony Towns. And I'm excited to see him in a big market, I really think he's underappreciated, having played in Minnesota. And so now him getting a shot at a major market on a team where the fan base is just excited for, to have a really, really good basketball team and a shot at, potentially being a championship team. But yeah, what I thought was, I felt like Minnesota just felt that they had to get a big name because they were trading a big name. And so they kind of went up and down New York's roster and were like, we'll take Julius Randle, and that's kind of how it felt like. So, yeah, I don't really see how that's going to work, but as far as talent goes, I mean, Minnesota got the talent back, but if the pieces don't fit together with what you already have there, an established star and Ant, it's, I don't see how that really going to work, but you never know. I mean, I guess we'll see what the versatility of what Ant-Man is now. I'm getting, having to play with Julius Randle, but I don't think position wise really going to matter for Karl Anthony Towns. I think that, the Brunson's going to make him that much better. And like I said, the pick and roll with the two of them together is going to be fun to watch in New York.
All right, we got Maurice commenting in the chat saying, word is Minnesota didn't want to keep paying Towns, and New York has been wanting him for a while. And New York, I just heard today that Towns' team growing up was the Knicks. So,
well, how much are they going to be paying Julius Randle? That's what I mean. I understand. Julius doesn't have a small contract; he's got a big one too, doesn't he? And I see. Yeah. I feel what Maurice is saying. They probably didn't want to keep paying it, but do you want to pay Julius Randle? I mean, how many years are left on this deal? That's what I need to know. And I don't understand.
If the end point was to get rid of Karl Anthony Towns, why now? Not 2 or 3 years ago when his value was max value. I mean, and again, that cloud's been hanging over of him being potentially traded for multiple off seasons now. So that's what I don't understand. Why now? If you're, if you don't want to pay him or whatever reason, why didn't you trade him at max value? And where it could have been, impact player, impact draft picks, that type of thing. So. Yeah,
and Murray says his contract is up after this season.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Right? And this is my point. This is what I said. You just wanted Cat out of there. That's why you were able to take Julius Randle. So now he gives you. I wonder, can they trade him? Before the trade deadline. I don't know how that works by getting a player in. Do they have to hold him so long or whatever? But he's an asset now. If he has 1 year left, so. I can understand clearing up cap space and getting him out of there and turning the team over to Ant. So that's cool, but you still got 7'5" of nothing in Rudy Gobert in your team too. So I don't know. I mean, what are you doing here? I don't know, man. But I understand if it's a contract thing and it was a cap driven decision, I understand that part.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to our next thing. Not Derrick Rose, but Russell Westbrook. Can you get him a ring in Denver since he's the new free agent in Denver? Johnny Murray and the Joker. Is it possible that Russ get a ring? And if he does, what does that do for his legacy? Bob saying no.
I think Russ is just in the wrong era of basketball, man. I'm just gonna be real with you. He doesn't shoot it well enough, and I'm wondering when what he does is going to dissipate. Russ is an energizer guy, running, jumping. That's his MO, is that he doesn't get tired. But Father Time is undefeated, and he just is. Now, if he's not as athletic as he was and as dominant as he was and tenacious, what does he give you in this era of basketball, which is you have to be able to shoot in this era of basketball? You got to be able to shoot. Teams shoot an abundance amount of threes. And when you look at the team that won it, look at the Celtics shot more threes than anybody in basketball. And that's what they do. Dallas shot more threes, shot a bunch of threes. It's a 3-point lead. And what Russ does is not 3-point shooting. Mm-hmm. It's not. So unless you can do something like they do in PlayStation and create your player and enhance his abilities, I just don't see it. You know, and Russ is what he is, man, and shooting is not it. So now, if he's playing with Joker, and what you want is space, what they gonna do when Russ is in the game? They gonna lay off, and they gonna make him shoot. They want the ball to get to him. Let him shoot. He with us. What they gonna say big on every time he take a shot? He with us.
Yeah.
Russ with us. Russ is with us. Yeah, and so I don't know how that benefits him. I just don't know. We saw the same thing with the Lakers. It didn't fit in there because LeBron needed shooting around him.
How many times and do we got to hear Russ is going to be the difference maker? Russ is the guy. Russ is going to be the difference maker. Russ is the guy where teams go to die.
Ooh.
How many rings he got, Hancock?
None but what he leave in the bathtub.
0.
Only what he leaves in the bathtub.
There's two guys you bring on your team when you don't want to win championships, him and James Harden.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah.
I can't argue with you.
Yeah, I mean, zero rings. This Seattle Supersonics likes to think it's the curse of the Oklahoma City Thunder. But, that's just my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. Again, zero championship doesn't lie, and they've got 0 between the two of them. And every offseason they get picked up by someone thinking that's going to be the difference maker. Harden,
Coach said yes, he think he can win the ring.
They didn't need him. They were a championship team before him. Now they're going to be a non-championship team because of him.
Ooh.
They didn't need him. They didn't need
him. Hey, Bob, hold on, hand. Dez want to work with you as far as getting the Braves report. He's giving us line by line report. Freak got out of the.
I got it on below me here. So trust me.
Yeah. I thought Michael Harris
sweating the bases loaded. Yeah.
I thought Michael Harris knocked your phone down when he hit the dub on the first pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So we got out of the inning. Braves up 1-0. So hopefully I can have me a victory cigar later on tonight. But all right, here we go. So Russ, all right, cool. All right, my last thing before we get into our 3-point shots. AJ Griffin officially retires from the NBA at the age of 21.
Wow.
Houston Rockets released him, and now he says that God has him on a trajectory to become a pastor.
Good for him.
I think that's what he says, but he's following God's lead and things of that nature. But Hancock, Bob, do you know how hard it is as a 21-year-old kid to be a millionaire, to turn all that money away to go and help people? Do you know how hard that is?
You definitely got to be a pretty religious guy. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, but if that's where his heart leads him to be, I mean, and just because you're given a God-given talent, God can take that talent away from you just as quickly as he gave you that talent. Who's to say he don't run up the court tomorrow, shred his ACL, and he never gets to play a game again? It's the ifs, the whats. I'm happy. I'm happy for him. I mean, he made a lot of decisions. I've followed him on Twitter since he's become, way back in his, his Dookie days. And
there you go. I was gonna say, what school did he go to? But
yeah, okay. and then coming up through the Hawks and stuff, and he's always been a very, very religious guy. And I mean, even before when he had talked about, kind of having that conflict of, wanting to become a minister as opposed to playing in the NBA. So yeah, I'm happy for him. I mean, I am such a do what your calling is type of person. And if he feels that his calling is to be a minister over being an NBA player, then shout out to him. And I hope nothing but the best for him. Really, I mean, this would have been his year for a best shot to get in with the Hawks, but I just, like I said, if that's what he feels is best for him, then who am I to argue about that?
All right, Han, what you got?
Oh yeah, man. Nothing more to add to what y'all said, man. I'm happy for him. That's the decision he made. And if that's his calling, man, more power to him. I hope everything works out for him.
Yeah, that is a tough. I'm pretty sure it was a tough choice. Very tough choice. All right, Bob. I know you missed the fun bag, but since the fun bag and since football season is here, we have a new segment called the 3-point shot. 3-point shot is basically sports questions that we answer, and we let the tennis answer as well. Something that Coach would love. I know he's been waiting all show to get to our new segment called the 3-point shot. And Cuz gonna love this too as he's sitting over there listening to the show. All right, y'all ready?
Do it.
Let's do it.
All right, the first question is this. I'll do this. All right. You got $15,000 to play with. Which event are you going to? You got to pay for your airline, your car, your tickets, and everything. Game 7 of the World Series, Game 7 of the NBA Finals, Final Four, or the Super Bowl. You got $15,000 budget. Which one are you going to? Bob, we're gonna start with you since you're at the top.
Well, that's a tough question because who's in those games? I mean, I don't want to pay $15,000 to go see the Mets play the Yankees in Game 7 of the World Series. But man, if the Braves were in Game 7 of the World Series, that's priceless to me. I mean, it's Game 7 of the World Series for me. I mean, being the baseball guy I am, I mean, that's on the bucket list of things things I've always wanted to do was, I want to see the Braves in Game 1 of the World Series, Game 7 would be the bonus for me. But I would probably say Game 7 of the World Series, Super Bowl, and then Game 7 of the NBA playoffs. But I mean, let me preface that by saying there's nothing better than Game 7. I mean, I don't care if it's hockey. I don't care if it's football. I mean, basketball or baseball. Game 7 is everything on the line.
Dez make a good point.
Yeah, good point. You're right.
$15K ain't gonna do it for the Super Bowl.
That might get you in the media day.
All right, Han, what you got?
Yeah, that's the only point. Like you said, and what I was thinking the whole time was, where am I sitting, or am I in the Super Bowl? I'm on sideline with the team? Am I there, or do I have a choice where I'm sitting? But me,
well, you got 15.
If I got my choice,
you got to get you.
Yeah, it's probably still gonna be the Super Bowl, man. It's just something about the atmosphere, it's like Christmas. You got one game for it all. All other things you talk about, they're multi-game things that we're talking about. Baseball, Game 7 might not be that good a game or whatever. And the Super Bowl might not be. But I know this is it. This is the pinnacle. The one thing about football that's different from all the rest is that everybody looks in to see on what's going on in the Super Bowl. Baseball, it doesn't. You are a baseball person, but the average person is not going to tune in.
Well, the Super Bowl's an event. You're watching an event.
And that's
Game
my point.
7 of the World Series is a game. Game 7 of the NBA is a game. Yeah, the
Exactly.
Super Bowl is the greatest event in America.
And that's why I got to pick it, because it's a national event. It's like Christmas. It's
Plus you get a free concert at halftime.
You get the concert.
It's an event. Yeah.
It's everything. So yeah, to me, it's got to be the Super Bowl. But I'm gonna need a bigger ticket than 15.
Can I throw a quick curveball, HO, before you answer? My $15K, honestly, would be against the rail for WrestleMania.
I feel you. Well, you can drive to New Orleans and keep save on the tickets.
Now, the one thing that would have rivaled it, but now it doesn't. But I would have loved to be at the back nine of Augusta with watching Tiger. That would be
Me too.
Walking that back nine with Tiger. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, Han, you probably be on the golf cart. Let's be real. Them knees ain't.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Second question. Well, for me, it'll be the Final Four. Let's be real. With my Duke hat and my Duke jersey and my Duke shoes and everything. So we rocking the Final Four. Heading to the championship game. But all right, here we go. Question number 2. All right, it's a fill in the blank question. Watching football on blank day can't be beat. That's Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday.
And what was the question?
Watching football on blank day cannot be beat.
Sunday. I mean, plan that. I mean, that's my plans are around Sunday football.
Oh,
I mean,
Sunday,
you know,
y'all kicking the dirt on Saturday football. Huh?
See, and that's what I was about to say, big homie. In the South, college football is a religion, man. I mean, you might as well call Saturdays around the South Sunday because it is huge. Now, northern cities and whatever pro football takes over, but in the South and the Southeast region, Saturdays in college football is like none other. You know, just like you talk about, Dez talks about Georgia football. Yes,
yeah,
and that's the thing because it's a Southern thing. It's a Southern thing. I think nationally it would definitely be Sunday, but man, for me, I'm a football nut, so it doesn't matter what day it's on.
I agree.
I cannot not watch. I gotta watch. So it's
I'll watch the most boring Thursday game just to watch NFL football on Thursday. I don't care. Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I mean, you asked me this question 15 years ago, and I say Monday night because I got Monday Night Football game at 5:30 at night. You know, and so. You know, I could watch a whole Monday night. I'm old now. By 10 o'clock, I'm slumped around in my chair on Monday night, struggling to get through the second half. You know, that was the worst thing about living here when the Seahawks started going on their run of winning was all of a sudden they started getting on the Monday night games and the Thursday night games and the late Sunday games. And man, by 10:30, it's halftime and I'm struggling, you know, and so I got to keep myself awake just to watch my guys play, you know, so. But yeah, there ain't nothing like you know, Sunday football. I mean, Sunday football and Thursday Thanksgiving football are my favorite.
Yeah, I'm going with Saturday as well. All right, third question. This gonna be a good one, fella. So y'all bow down. Basketball game tied. No time on the clock. There's a technical foul. Who are you going to go up for your free throw shots to win the game?
Come on, man.
Mark Price, Ray Allen, Chauncey Billups.
Oh, you didn't let me pick my guy. Okay. I'm going to probably.
I ain't going to let you pick it now.
Okay. Mark Price, Chauncey Billups, and who else?
Ray Allen. They get 2 shots, 1 to win it. Two will put you over the point spread.
I'm going with the white boy.
I'm
going with Mark Price, man.
Oh, okay.
Ray Allen for me. I mean, you know, that he could shoot blindfolded. He's just that good of a shooter. So he was just as deadly inside as he was outside. So yeah, my money would definitely be on Ray Allen. If you didn't give me those choices, it'd be Kobe Bryant all day long. So
if you're gonna give me my choice, it's Steph Curry.
Yeah, I purposely left him out.
I know that's right.
You should have picked the three worst shooters. Like we should have picked between like Shaq.
What about Chuck Hayes?
Yeah. There were
Yeah.
some pretty
All
bad
right,
shooters.
last one for the night, fellas. This go end it all. Y'all gonna love this one. I'm even afraid to even. Yeah, we saw that. Freak gave up a bomb. Yeah. All right, I'm afraid to even ask y'all this one. All right, you got to pick two receivers, tight end, a quarterback, and a running back. All time or today, you got to pick. Give me two receivers, a tight end, a quarterback, and a running back.
Oh, does anybody we can pick?
Yeah, you can pick anybody.
Two receivers? Okay.
Two receivers, a quarterback, running back, and a tight end.
All right. My receivers, Jerry Rice and man, give me Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin. Because I know Irvin's gonna make that tough catch. Give me Jerry Rice. He can't be stopped. Quarterback, this might be recency bias, but give me Patrick Mahomes. Running back, give me Walter Payton. And my tight end, let's go Gronk.
Okay. Pretty nice. I like that.
That was a good.
Running back, you got Mahomes at quarterback.
I got Mahomes.
Jerry
I
Rice,
got Michael Irvin.
Michael Irvin.
And I got Walter Payton as my running back.
Okay. Yeah, you stacked there, bro. All right, Bob, what you got?
All right, my quarterback is definitely Tom Brady. I mean, no, there's a reason he's to go. My wide receivers are Randy Moss and Jerry Rice. I mean, Jerry Rice will always be my favorite wide receiver. Running back, Barry Sanders, my all-time favorite running back, and then tight end is 100% Gronk.
All right, let me go to the chat. Coach said Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Barry Sanders, and Tony Gonzalez.
I forgot
Boy,
about Gonzalez, man. Tony G was elite. That's a really good one. It didn't talk about him. He would be great on any team. Cheating was a good one. Mm-hmm.
There we go. All right, I'm back. Coach said he went to school with Jerry Rice.
Okay. High school or college?
I'm not sure, but I'm sure he'll answer in a minute. All right, Cuz said the LSU boy, so Mahomes and Cheat at running back. I got to get a tight end though. All right,
You got Mahomes and Manning?
No, he said Manning what Manning said.
I got you.
Yeah. I'm going Warren Moon as my quarterback.
My guy.
Yeah, he said Mississippi Valley State.
Okay.
So I'm going Warren
You got there
Moon.
with Willie Totten, baby.
Yeah.
Archie Coley.
Yeah. I'm going Warren Moon.
Which Warren Moon are you taking, though? Are you taking Houston?
The one in Houston.
Houston Oilers Warren Moon, all right.
Yeah, I'm going Houston Oilers, Warren Moon. Marshall Faulk, my running back.
Love him.
Randy Moss, wide receiver, along with Terrell Owen.
I ain't mad at that.
And tight end will be Tony Gonzalez. There it is. And that's going to end the show. That's going to end everybody. That's going to do it. As you can hear the music, and as the Braves fall down 3-1, as Max Fried cannot get these bars out.
If we don't start intentionally walking that Higashioka guy, I'm going to start throwing my phone through the TV. That guy has killed us for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Some B-level catcher whooping our butt every single time we play the Padres, getting on my nerves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's bad. All right, man. Shout out to everybody tuned in. Shout out to Bob. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Shout out to D. Will for coming through. Hancock, we appreciate it, man. We got to talk again right after the show.
Oh yeah,
I got to download it, and I'll be ready.
My
Shout
man.
out to everybody who tuned in and watched and listened to the show. Shout out to the tenants. And hey man, we do what we do. Sports Roundtable. We keep pushing. Episode 391 episodes. Can you believe that, Han?
That's a lot, man. That's a lot.
Yeah, so 391 episodes, man. So yes, shout out to everybody, man. Let's make this thing happen. So, all right, Bob, give me your shout outs and tell everybody where they can find you to talk Braves in the off season.
Shout out for you guys having me again. Like I said, it's my favorite time is getting to block out a couple hours to just talk sports with y'all. It's the highlight of my week. So you can find me at Bowling Bob. That's on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it these days. That's where I'm at. I'm on all sorts of social media, but it's all around the same. You just search Bowling Bob, you'll find me. But mainly it's on the Twitter. Hit me up. We'll talk Braves. Talk any sports. You know me, I'm well-rounded, so I'll argue with the best of them. So, but yeah, you're going to find me today either complaining about the Braves or talking about how we're going to whip the butt and play the Dodgers next.
Yeah, it ain't looking good right now, so. Hey, only thing we can say is Max Fried has been good. Appreciate your time in Atlanta.
That's true.
That's all I can say. All right, Han, what you got?
Hey, man, just shout out, man. Glad to be back in the building with the guys, man. It's been a long couple of weeks, man, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. You got to get out there and hustle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just glad to be back. Shout out to the tenants, man. Bob, thanks for coming in, holding everything down, man, keeping this thing on track, man. So, big homie, you know, always with you, man. We got to get these picks together tonight, though, man. That was, man, that push hurt me. It kept me from getting some fruit cups, man. But we're going to work it out.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, that's going to do it, man. Thanks for the tenants. We got to get up out of here. I got to make me a little coffee now. So, with that being said, Han, you know how we do it. Let's roll, baby.
Boogie! I'm headed home, baby.
It's your main man, H.O. from Bankhead. R.I.P. Moms and Pops. R.I.P. DC. And if you love the show,
tell a friend.
And if you didn't,
in honor of Frankie Beverly, baby, I've been feeling in the air. Let's go, baby.
We out. Peace.
Peace.